Hey Rams, it's Miss Moreau. Here is our homework help video for Monday, May 3rd. It's page 45 and 46 in your Star Review booklet. Okay, question 1. In PE, a parachute is laid out on the gym floor. The parachute has a radius of 16 feet. So I'm going to draw that before I do anything else. I'm going to draw that. Remember, radius is halfway across. Which measurement is closest to the circumference of the parachute in feet? So remember, circumference is the distance all the way around the outer edge. And your formula sheet will tell you that circumference is either pi times diameter or 2 times pi times r. Okay, so if I do 2 times the radius, my radius is 16, 2 times 16 is 32, and now the pi, 32 times pi. Well, even if I just estimated and said 32 times 3, right? Pi is 3.14, but even if I just estimate and say 32 times 3, I get 96, okay? There's only one answer here that is even close to 96. It's A, 100.48. Now, if I actually multiplied 32 times 3.14, I would get 100.48. But it often helps to try it out and see, because my numbers here are all spread out, that I could estimate, and none of the two answer choices are very close together. Okay, so if I estimate pi to be 3, it really simplifies the multiplication that I'm doing, and I can still get to the correct answer. All right, question 2. A coffee shop sign is in the shape of a circle. The sign measures 18 inches across its diameter. Well, that is across right there. It's 18 inches. Which measurement is closest to the area of the sign in square inches? So on your formula sheet, your star reference material, it tells you that area equals pi r squared. Well, that means pi times r, okay? Be careful not to say r times 2, not r2, okay? Now, what is my radius? We have to be very careful here. My diameter is 18. Radius is halfway across that, which would only be right here, and it would be 9. So pi times 9 times 9. Okay, so the first thing I'll do is 9 times 9 is 81 times pi. So if I wanted to estimate again and say 81 times 3 is only going to be 243. Well, look at that. I rounded down. My 3.14 became a 3. And look, I still got 243 as my answer. There is no other number anywhere around 243. Okay, now I know I rounded down, so my answer should be a little bit higher than 243. The only one that's anywhere close to that is J, which on your gradable you would call it D, is 254 and 34 hundredths inches squared. All right, number 3. A triangle is inscribed in a rectangle. That means it is in the middle, taken out of it, okay? What is the area of the shaded region? So this is a 3-step problem. Step 1 is area of rectangle. Step 2 would be area of the triangle. And step 3 is subtract those. Okay, if I took out that triangle here in the middle, it gives me the area of the shaded part. Okay, so area of my rectangle, step 1 here, rectangle is base times height. So 5 times 11 is 55 square centimeters. Now, if I look at my triangle, step 2, the area of a triangle is 1/2 of base times height. We have to make for sure we use our formula sheet to double check and verify that we have the correct formula, because if not, then we're using the wrong steps, okay? So 1/2 of 3 times 5. Well, 3 times 5 is 15, and 1/2 of 15 is 7.5 or 7.5, okay? Now we just have to do step 3, which is subtracting. Okay, Notice we have one answer choice here. B has 55 plus 7.5. That would be them adding, okay? But 55. Now, if I'm going to add 7.5, I cannot line it up like this right here because my numbers are not in the correct places. I have to line up the decimal here. Even if I have to put a 0.0 there, that's okay. All right, so I'm going to subtract. Now, I cannot do 0 minus 5, so I'm going to borrow from that and make it a 4 and add 10 over here because now I have 10 minus 5. Oh, I can't do 4 minus 7 though, can I? So I'm going to borrow from here and make it a 4 on this side and make that a 14. 14 minus 7 is 7. 4 minus 0 is 4. So I have 47.5. And that's C. Number 4. Using various puzzle pieces, Marco forms the figure below. What is the best estimate of the area of the figure? All right, so I have two different shapes here. I have a triangle. The area of my triangle is 1/2 of base times height, and I have half of a circle. Okay, so a circle is pi r squared, but I have half of that. Okay, so I have two different things to do here. I'm going to start with the triangle because that seems the easiest. Okay, it is a right triangle here. My base and height are perpendicular. So my base is 16, my height is 8, and I take 1/2. There are a couple of ways I could do it, but I'm just going to use those parentheses right there and say 16 times 8 is 128, and 1/2 of that is going to be 64 square inches. Now, my semicircle here, I'm going to change color so it stands out. 1/2 of pi r squared. That means pi times r times r. Okay, now my radius here is not going to be 8. Remember, it's halfway across. Radius is halfway, so it's 4. 4 times 4 times pi, and then 1/2. So 4 times 4 is 16 times pi. So let's say pi is 3 here and 1/2. So 3 times 16 is 48, and 1/2 of 48 is 24. Now, I do not have an answer choice that says 24, but remember, that's just half of the circle. If I do 24 plus 64, let's see, I have 88. All right, so since it says the best estimate, that means that there's some rounding in here. Oh, I see. I gotta go back. I did this problem wrong. Okay, I'm going to erase part of this. The circle, nope, the triangle is where there's an issue. My 16 is not the base of my triangle. 16, hopefully you caught that maybe. 16 is not from here to here. So that means if this across here is going to be 4, 16 minus 4 is 12. So the base of that was 12. So it'd be 12 times 8, which is 96. And then half of that, 48. So this one was 48, not 64. Sorry. Plus 24 there. 72, which right here, our estimate says 77. That's the closest one. All right, so hopefully you see the difference here. This 16 was not the base of the triangle. It was the length of the whole entire shape. Sorry about that. Okay, a puzzle is shown below. Which of the following is the closest to the area of the shaded portions of the puzzle? All right, so remember, this is a parallelogram. And the area of a parallelogram is base times height. Now, remember, I'm not looking for the base of the whole rectangle here. Don't make the mistake of measuring from the corner to the corner because that's not the whole length. So the base of this actual parallelogram is only across here. It stops right there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My height is 1, 2, 3. 5 times 3 is 15. Shaded portion would be 5 times 3 is 15. It should be correct. There should be an answer here that says 15. Okay, the closest one here is 18, but... Oh, I see. Your scale here. So 10 times 6. There we go. All right. Which of the following equations can be used to find the missing angle x in the triangle below? So remember, the area, the angles in a triangle have to have a sum of 180 degrees. So 42 plus 42 plus x equals 180. Well, none of my answer choices look like that, but remember how we combine like terms? We take the things that are in common. So 42 and 42 is 84, plus that x right there equals 180 degrees. And that would be F. Sorry. A round clock is shown below. Which of the following is closest to the number of inches around the clock? Now, when it says around the clock, that means circumference. So circumference equals pi times diameter. My diameter is 11 here. That's all the way from one side to the other. So 11 times pi. Well, remember, if I did 11 times 3, I'm going to get 33. So if I did 11 times 3.14, my answer here would be 34.54. There's only one answer that's close to 33. So a lot of times you can actually just use 3 for pi. All right. Janice is painting a portion of a gymnasium court. If she paints a shaded area, then how many square feet will she paint? So this is one of those 3-step problems. We're going to need to find the area of the rectangle. Okay. Step 2, I have 2 semicircles here. Okay. 2 of these different semicircles. Each one is half of a circle. So could I just find the area of a full circle? Yeah, that should work, right? And then I'm going to subtract those 2 areas. Okay, so the rectangle, the area is base times height. So it would be 16 times 40. Okay, this is going to give us the area of the rectangle. So 16 times 40 is 640. Now I have 2 half circles. So I'm going to take the area of a circle. So it is pi times radius times radius. That's pi r squared. My radius was halfway across the circle, so it's 8. 8 times 8 times pi was 64 times pi. Well, if I tried to do this and say 64 times 3, I would get 192. Okay, if I did 64 times 3.14, which is still an estimate, I would get 200.96. Okay, but 640 minus 200 would be 440. If I did 640 minus 192, it's not that far different, right? So it'd be 448. But look how close our answer still is, and there's only one that's even close to it. So my advice here, when it's multiple choice, use 3 for pi and see if that narrows down all the other answer choices. If it doesn't, if it still leaves you with 2 numbers close by, then go ahead and go with 3.14, but it will definitely help with less errors. Okay, number 9, a circular rug has a radius of 4 feet. Which of the following is the closest to the number of square inches? What does that mean? That's the key word. Square inches means area. Okay, so area of a circle tells us it's circular. Pi r squared, and that means pi times radius times radius. It already gives me the radius, so I don't have to cut it in half. 4 times 4 is 16 times pi. Well, 16 times 3 is 48. That means I can rule out these 2. This will be one of those ones where it really would be best to go ahead and use pi as 3.14 because 48 is pretty close to both of those. All right, so 16 times 3.14 is 50.24. So it was the closest one, but just to be sure, we would do the actual number, okay? Last question. Angle ABC. Okay, so remember when you are naming angles, okay, you say it, you follow the lines as you read it, okay? A, B, C, and CBD are complementary. That means complementary. Remember those, the things we taught in class? Complementary, that C makes a 9, becomes a 90, and supplementary, we take that S and make it a 180, okay? So complementary means they add up to 90 degrees. So 2x, this angle, plus this angle, which is 38, equals 180. So subtract 38, subtract 38. $142 equals 2x. That means divide by 2, x equals 71 degrees. Okay, that is all of your homework. Have a good night, Rams.